everyone. I'm just dancing to no music. That's what I'm doing today. That's how I'm staying positive. Welcome everyone. I'm Gina K from Gina K Designs. Welcome to Stampin' Chat. I am so concerned with all of you all over the South. I'm worried about your weather. I hope that you guys are finding a way to stay warm and stay cozy. I know there's a lot going on down there, and I just want you guys to all know that you're in my thoughts and prayers. It's just polar vortex. It's cold here. It's been snowing on and off for days. But I know those of you that are down in Texas and all down in that southern area are not used to this and really don't have what you need. So I just want you guys to know, I see all your weather reports coming in, and I know a lot of you are struggling. So we're going to just take 1 hour and we're just going to focus on something else for just a little bit. So today I thought it would be fun to do a technique that I've done before, but in a different way. I'm going to use just plain old everyday rubber bands to create a really fun background in a new way. Now, for those of you who have watched my videos before, you've probably seen me do the rubber band technique using a brayer, and I'll show you that just in case you don't remember how to do that, or you haven't seen it before. It is a fun way to do a background, and it's quick and easy, but I have two other things that I want to show you today as well. So welcome everybody just coming in. I see a lot of you. I also don't see a lot of you, and that worries me because I know the power's out in like half of the world, it seems, right now. So we're just going to keep going, and hopefully some more people will be able to jump on. Okay, so let's flip to the overhead. What we're going to do is we're going to use these basic rubber bands. Now, I got this pack of rubber bands from Walgreens. You can get them at Walmart, Target, wherever you shop and they have office supplies, they usually have bags of rubber bands. What I like about this particular bag is all of the different thicknesses, and most of them are like that. So you shouldn't have a problem if you buy a big assortment bag. You also might have a lot of rubber bands just sitting in a junk drawer somewhere that came off of vegetables. Sometimes you get these big fat ones off of vegetables, and we all have rubber bands laying around. I haven't tried this with hair ties, but I know most of those are coated with some sort of fabric, so I would stick to the rubber bands if you can. Rubber bands are made of rubber, just like rubber stamps, so they hold ink remarkably well. So I'm going to show you the old technique that I originally taught on my YouTube channel. I'm going to just cut a piece of cardstock down here real quickly. This is just a 5.5 by 4.25. I'm sorry, it's a 5 by 4.25 piece of cardstock. Just something quick to work on to show you this first technique that you've already seen before, some of you. So this is a brayer. And if you have a brayer, you might not have this acrylic part inside the brayer. Your brayer may look more like this with the rubber brayer put in there, and these come in soft and hard rubber. You do want to use an acrylic barrel in your brayer if you're going to do this rubber band technique, this first rubber band technique, because rubber bands will squish this rubber and it can leave dents behind. So you can always pick up an acrylic insert for your brayer, and they pop right out, and you can put, the acrylic one in or the rubber one in. I happen to have two because I've taught classes with these, but these are interchangeable. Okay, so what I'm going to do for this little technique here, if you haven't seen this before, is I'm just going to find some skinny rubber bands, just a few, and I'm going to wrap these rubber bands around the brayer. And no rhyme or reason. I'm not worried about them being perfect on there because it just makes the technique even better. Okay. I'll just use 2 for now because this is just a quick demo. This isn't really today's technique, but I want to get everybody up to speed on the old technique so you can see the new one. Okay, so I'm going to pick some colors here. I've picked bright colors to work with today because I think we all need some bright summer, spring colors. So I have Wild Lilac, Lucky Clover, Blue Lagoon, and Passionate Pink. So I'll start with Passionate Pink. And what I'm going to do, welcome everyone. It's great to see you guys. Oh, I see everybody coming in. Where do you find the acrylic brayer? I would say check your local store, your local craft store. If you don't have a local craft store, I would check Simon Says Stamp, you know, any of the big online stores. They usually have all of the attachments. You also can find these sometimes in art supply stores too, because brayering, is it brayering, Tom?
Braying.
Braying? Okay, braying.
Is there braying for you?
Oh, okay. I think it's brayering, but all right, we're going to go with Tom's. If you're braying, you may be doing art as well as crafts. So sometimes you'll find these in your local art stores. So you're going to use this just like you would use one of those old-fashioned rolling stamps that we used to get from Stampin' Up! And places like that. So you're going to just roll the ink onto the rubber bands, and then you're going to go like that, okay? And then you're going to roll again, and then like that. Okay, so that's kind of a cool look. And then to clean my brayer, I usually just put my tidy towel down and I just roll onto my tidy towel. I just washed all my tidy towels yesterday in the washing machine with hot water and Tide, and they smell glorious. They smell so fresh. Okay, so now we'll do a crisscross pattern here. Yeah, I think probably Blick Art Supply, good suggestion. They would probably have it. Brayering. Thank you, Tracy. See, Tom, you're wrong. Tracy knows it's not braying.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to use some wild lilac now, and I'm going to do the same thing down one side and down the other. And you can make your lines closer together or, you know, farther apart if you want. Okay, all I did, if you just are joining me, all I did was wrap rubber bands around a clear brayer insert. All right, so I'm going to clean that on my tidy towel. And then I'll use one more color. And you can do, I'll use the Lucky Clover here. This isn't even the technique I want to show you. I know you guys have seen this before, a lot of you. This is not the technique, but it's fun anyway. And then I would do this one maybe on an angle. This to me is a great look for like a birthday card. It just kind of brings to mind like streamers, you know, so any kind of celebration card. It's super fun. And I do have a video just specifically showing this technique and cards that I made using this. So I'll try to locate that and see if I can link it in the description here on YouTube so that you can go watch that video separately if you want to see what I'm doing. Okay. So we're joking about donkeys. I didn't see any of those comments, but I only look up once in a while. All right, so.
What donkeys do is bray.
Oh, they bray? Donkeys bray? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were crafty. Sorry. I'll see myself out. All right, so that is one little technique here. If you have no elastics, I mean, you can even, if you're stuck and there's no way you can get out, you can just get a bag of rubber bands on Amazon super cheap. So that would be fun to do. Look around. I'm telling you, you all probably have some rubber bands sitting in your drawers somewhere. Okay, so here's another piece of cardstock. Now I want to show you another way that you can do this technique that's fun. All right, here I have a round acrylic block. I'm also going to use my long acrylic block for this. So for this one, I'm going to choose some skinny rubber bands. Let's see here. I want to choose smaller ones. There's all different sizes in this bag. So I'm going to pick some smaller ones. I think I'll just find 4 of them. You got to kind of dig. All right, let me find one more. I don't want to go too big with these. And you know, rubber bands, you can just take them off of your block or off of your brayer and wash them so that you can use them again. Why can't I find one more that size? Come on. That's going to be too big. Hang in there with me. I'm really digging. Okay, there we go. Let me push that out of the way. So now what we're going to do here with this is we're going to make sure that we keep the rubber bands as flat as possible. So you don't have to worry about it while you're trying to put it on the block. But then, you know, as you're ready to kind of lay it down. Just make sure that the rubber band itself is flat on this side. Okay, and we're going to do another same way. Okay, that's flat. So we're going to kind of make a star pattern here. And this just gives you a different look where this is all confetti streamer looking. Welcome everyone. Wow, we're getting busy. Getting busy here. Okay, and you can see I'm just crossing them in the center. They don't have to be perfect because this isn't going to be a perfect technique. It's just going to give us a different style, a different shape. Okay, there we go. And there's the last one. Now, I've made sure that they're flat on this side. I don't care what's happening on this back side, just that they're flat on this side, okay? So now I'm going to start with the Passionate Pink, and I'm going to ink this up just like it was a stamp. And I'll stamp one in the center. And then I'm going to stamp the four corners. You do have to put a little bit of extra pressure, just because the rubber bands are overlapping, and that doesn't happen with rubber or clear stamps. Okay. So there is my first four. Now I'm going to take my tidy towel and I'm just going to squish it on there to clean that up. All right. And then you might have to readjust your rubber bands if they got curved or twisted, I should say. But they're easy to untwist. And now I'm going to add some Blue Lagoon to this. And I'm just overlapping. This kind of brings to mind fireworks a little bit, something like that. So again, another fun card if you're making graduation cards. I know it seems early to be making those, but if we keep thinking positive, spring is going to be here before we know it. All right, so I don't have any rubber bands that are turned, and I'll add some Lucky Clover to this. Okay. Right on top of all of that. So it just gives you a completely different style pattern. This feels more like pickup sticks, where this feels more like streamers and kind of happy, flowy waves. And depending on the colors that you use, you could do all different shades of turquoise and aqua and make it a background for a summer card, like a pool party card or something like that. You know, this is more like maybe you do red, white, and blue, or red and blue on a white card base to kind of mimic 4th of July. So that's another way that you can do that. Yes, my tidy towel is wet with just water. Okay, so there's two styles, but I want to show you my favorite, and this is the one that I want to make a card out of today. So I'm going to use this block here, and this is our, I don't know exactly the size, but I'll check it here for you. Okay, so it's a 6-inch long block, and it's 1.5 inches this way, going across like this way. And what I love about these blocks, first of all, is I love, these are our comfort blocks. They've got this beveled edge, so it makes it very easy. There's no sharp edges at all. It makes them very easy to hold. It also has a little divot in here that your fingers sink into, so you're less likely to drop the block. I've dropped my block so many times when I just had a block that didn't have that nice little bevel in there. This helps you hang on to it and hold on to it better. And it's all rounded edges, so they're not tiresome. You don't start to feel it after a while of stamping because there's nothing sharp to dig into you. So this one, I'm going to grab one more piece of white cardstock here. Let me cut this one down. I'm going to make this one just a little bigger, and then we'll cut it down using, I think this will work. Yeah, that'll work because the block is longer than that. We'll cut it down using the dies when we make a card. I'm also going to do a little Gamsol today, just a little. So if you haven't seen Gamsol blending, you'll be able to see that as well. So let me zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing a little bit more closely. So the nice thing about this block, let me get it away from the white cardstock, is it's got these grid lines in it. And the grid lines makes it easy for you to line up your rubber bands nice and straight. So what I want to do here is I want to get one big fat rubber band. Let's see if there's even a fatter one. There is a fatter one. Oh, it's about the same. Okay, so I have a fat rubber band here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that. There should be even a fatter one. Oh, there is. Okay. See how thick this one is? I think this one is a little fatter. So I'm going to put this one right along one of the lines. And you don't have to have it perfect when you first put it on, but it makes it easy to line it up against one of the lines to keep it nice and straight. Okay, that is not straight, but we'll make it straight. There we go. Okay, so I've got, that's deceiving too when it's not straight in the back. So I've got one big fat rubber band. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a plaid. So if you've ever looked at plaids, they're different size lines going through the plaid. So we want to use a big fat one. And then we want to use one that's a little bit thinner, but not super thin. So let's find one like that. This one would work. So I'm going to put this one here on the end. And I'm leaving some space in between so that I can alternate colors and I can stamp in between the lines. Okay, so there is my second band, my second rubber band. And then I'm going to do a super skinny one. So let me find one of those really thin rubber bands. Here's a really thin one. And I'll put this one up here like this. Okay. And again, you do want to make sure that these are on your block flat, that they're not twisted. So just kind of look at it and make sure it's nice and flat. Okay. There we go. So now I've got 3 rubber bands of different widths here. Yes, this is actually a really fun technique to do with kids. Give them each a block and a bunch of rubber bands and have them try different designs. Okay. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to start, not gonna, I'm going to start with my Lucky Clover ink. And I'm going to ink this up just like it was a rubber stamp. See how it's taking the ink really beautifully? Now, it will be a little bit rustic looking compared to actually using a stamp. And I'm just going to stamp that down onto my cardstock. So I've got some stripes. How's the weight loss going? Honey, it is going really well. I am now down 21 pounds as of yesterday, 21 and a half pounds. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm leaving some space because I want to be able to stamp in between. And what's nice is with the clear blocks, you can see exactly what you're doing. You can make sure it's as straight as possible. I'm going to do another one here. Up here. Okay, and see that one's not perfectly straight? I'm not going to worry about it. Diana, what did I make soda come out of your nose when I said what? It could be a variety of things. I've already said many things that probably shouldn't have. Okay. All right. So there's my last one. Now remember, I'm going to cut these out, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. If, my edges don't line up, I'll just position it, the die, when I cut them out, when I cut it out, to be even on both sides. Tom is always kind of been a healthy eater, so he really doesn't need a diet. I, on the other hand, okay, so now I've turned the cardstock, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. And for those of you that are just joining us, I just have a variety of rubber bands wrapped around this acrylic block. My mouth feels great. Thank you for asking. It's doing really well. I do have to have a colonoscopy, though. That's my new thing now. Not looking forward to that. Actually, I'm not too worried about the colonoscopy part. It's the prep that I'm not looking forward to, and it's the COVID test that they're going to make me take beforehand. I'm more scared of the COVID test than the whole colonoscopy. Okay, and so there is my You can see how cool this is. Isn't it fun? Yeah, this is a fun one. And this is, I mean, to me, plaid is like plaid just screams spring to me. So if you're making Easter cards or you've got flowers, you just want to make Mother's Day cards, any kind of springy kind of card, plaid is the ticket. Okay, so I'm going to now switch to Blue Lagoon, and I'm just going to do a 2-color plaid. Yeah, the colonoscopy prep, I'm not looking forward to that. I might lose a little weight through that process.
You're beautiful inside and out.
Who said that?
That was our stamp. We had a stamp.
Oh, that's true. We could have used that for a colonoscopy stamp. You're beautiful inside and out. Ugh. All right. So now I'm going to go in between the lines here to add some of the blue. I know, plaids and dots, right? They are so springy. Let's just go in between. That one was kind of close, but again, you know, this is all hand stamped. So we're kind of doing our own thing the way we want. I love plaid. Alrighty. This is a lot of plaid. So imagine doing this in all pastel colors and making cute little Easter bunny cards. All right, we'll do one up there, and then I'm going to do one down here just in case. And you can pick whichever, you know, size you want. So I'm going to do the real small one down there. Okay, I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to add some more blue on this side. The COVID test is a breeze. Okay, Judy, thank you. I appreciate you saying that because I have not had a COVID test. I don't go anywhere, so I haven't needed to have a COVID test. But I don't know. I don't like when people stick things up my nose. I'd rather have them, you know, with the colonoscopy. I'd rather go in through there, honestly, because I'll be asleep for that. Oh my gosh. I'm going to get kicked off of YouTube. All right, I'm going to have to mark this one not safe for kids. Okay, so I'm just finishing up my plaid on this side. And then we will make something with this one. So there is a nice little plaid design. Now I went real heavy on the plaid on this one. Here's one that I did a little bit lighter, like not quite as much busy. I don't know, it's pretty close. But let's try one more thing. We'll go with one more piece of white cardstock. Let me dig one out here. Hold on. Okay, so we'll start with blue on this one. We'll use the same color combo just so I don't have to clean this block. It's so easy to do. Now this one I'm going to go down on an angle. So I'm going to start up here. Love the angle plaid. This is similar to the technique that I taught you guys, but I really should have started down here. Let me flip it. It's just easier to see if the design is toward the bottom, because then you're not going to accidentally stamp over something you've already stamped, because you can see where that is. Now this is going to actually be a little short on the sides, but you know, we're going to cut it down, so it doesn't really matter. There we go. So I forget what I was talking about, but it probably wasn't a great conversation anyway if it was about my colonoscopy. No, I'm not worried. I've had a colonoscopy before, so this is my second colonoscopy. So I'm not worried about it. That I'm not worried about. I'm going to use that as part of my weight loss plan and just get her done. I'll tell you, feels like you reach a certain point and everything starts breaking down a little bit. But I guess as long as you keep on top of it, it's a good thing, right? Okay. All right, now I'm going to use the green again. And this one will be a little bit, I'm sorry for my weird label under here. This was actually the sample of the color that they blended for me to make sure it was the right color. And it was the right color, so I never bothered taking one out of our inventory with a label. Okay, here we go. Crisscrossy. So they said I'm allowed to have chicken broth. I'm allowed to have green Jello, nothing red, green Jello. And like clear soda. Sounds delightful. Can't wait. Maybe I'll do a live that day. I'll be extra angry. I'll be hangry. You know that feeling when you're hungry and angry because you're hungry? You're hangry? That'll be me. Okay. Now this one I'm not doing, you want a hint about the next reveal, the next release? Well, let's see, what can I tell you? Oh, isn't that pretty? I love that one. And that's so simple to do. Just an acrylic block and 3 different size rubber bands. Oh, banana popsicles. Holly, I love you. Thank you. I didn't think of that. That's a great thing to have. All right, so I'm going to cut these panels down. Yeah, sometimes I get angry if I'm really hungry, but I'm usually not too angry. I haven't been really that hungry either. I think, you know, once things shrink a little bit, you're angry the first couple of days, but once things shrink a little, you get used to not eating quite as many calories. Okay, so now I'm going to use my die cutting machine, and I'm going to back this up just a little bit. And we're going to just cut these 2 out. I'll make 1 card today, and I might use the other panel to make a second card later. We'll see what I have time for. But I really like this one. I didn't think I'd like this one quite as much. This was a whim. I hadn't tried this one. I'm going to use Master Layouts too, and I'm just going to cut that out. But that's fun. That's very kind of lattice, has a lattice feel to it, which would be very pretty for flower cards and spring cards as well. Welcome, Liz. You're not late. We've just been talking about my colonoscopy, so you didn't miss anything. You're probably glad you're late now. All right, so that has that nice little stitching around the edge, so we'll keep that. And then I will cut out this one. I'll do the same thing. This is the first one I made, my trial run. They're all fine, but I want to make sure it's as straight as I can get it. It's easier to line up the one that's crisscross instead of straight up and down. The drink tastes better? Oh, that's good. Yeah, my last one was like 8 years ago, so it didn't taste very good there. Okay, so there is my other plaid background. There we go. 2 plaids, and I'll show, for those of you who just joined us, I'll show you the other backgrounds that we did using rubber bands. We did this star shape that has a kind of a fireworks feel, and then we did this one with a brayer that kind of has a streamer feel to it. So these are great for celebration cards, 4th of July, things like that, New Year's Eve, depending on the colors. You could even do some of these with Versamark and emboss them in gold and silver. And then these are just plaid styles that I did using a long acrylic block and 3 different size flat rubber bands. Okay. All right, so let's stamp some flowers real quick. And then I'll cut the flowers out and I'll do the other panel then. Let me get this out of the way. All right, so I need a piece of white cardstock. Here we go. And let me zoom in a bit. So I'm just going to cut out, well, I'm just going to stamp a couple of flowers and leaves. So I'm going to use this set again. I used this in one of my last videos, my Copic, my not coloring with Copic marker video. I'm going to use the big flower this time instead of this whole arrangement, just the single flower and these 2 leaves. So let's get those off of the stamp sheet. And then I'm going to use an acrylic block for these. More acrylic blocks. I guess I'm in a block mood today. And I'm going to stamp this with just black ink. Now, it really looks pretty to do this technique using embossing ink and then embossing them with white embossing powder. That's a really pretty look. But we're going to save a little bit of time today because my backgrounds took a little longer. And I'll just stamp this in black. We'll just have one flower. There we go. Oh, that's so pretty. Love that flower. And I will do these leaves. Can I put them both on the block at the same time? Hope that's not hard to cut out. I better not. I better space them out. Okay, so we'll stamp one here. I'm going to stamp two of these. And then I'm going to stamp one of that one. Get my tidy towel again so I don't make myself an inky mess, which, I mean, come on. We're all an inky mess, right? There we go. Okay. All right, I think that will work. Three sets of leaves with that one big flower seems like it would be pretty good. So I have some colored pencils here, and I want to try to find a color that I think will look good with this plaid. So here is, we'll try this one. This is Aquamarine. That is a nice match for that blue. So we're going to color this flower using the Aquamarine Prismacolor pencil. I'll see if I can talk through a couple little sneaky peeks about the next release. What I'm going to do is, and you want to try to use a wax-based pencil or an oil-based pencil if you're going to use Gamsol, because Gamsol will kind of not dissolve it, but break it down so that it'll move better. If you want to use watercolor pencils, use watercolor pencils, but then you don't need Gamsol. You could just use water because water blends the watercolor pencil. So I am just coloring at the base of each petal, kind of where it would grow out of the flower, if that makes sense, come out of the center of the flower. So for these petals, I'm just kind of coming in this way, but for like up here, I'm gonna come in that way. So this will just take a couple minutes for me to get this color laid down, and I am coloring nice and strong. I'm really laying down some color here. I'm not being stingy with the color. I'm not going light. And it's a very different way to color with colored pencils than if you were actually just doing all colored pencil shading. If you're doing all colored pencil shading, you don't want to really like press hard. You want to kind of layer color on much lighter. So don't watch me for like good colored pencil technique. Watch me. Isn't that great? Watch me for fun crafting colored pencil techniques that anybody can do. That's me. I'm the every girl. I am not the fine artist. I am the every crafter. It's part of my charm. Okay. So I'm getting there. And then what we're going to do with this is we're going to use some Gamsol to blend that color toward the edges of the petals, kind of almost going to white. So there we go. All right, so for our next release, one thing that I am really excited about, I will tell you that our illustrators have created some really, really beautiful, beautiful stamp sets for this next release. And we do have a couple of stamp sets in the next release for Easter, which I can't believe that we're actually, you know, ahead of the game here, where you guys are going to have your stamps in plenty of time for the Easter holiday or springtime holidays. We also have some beautiful florals coming out, which is kind of a thing. Hannah has her February flower coming out, which I'm very excited about. If you didn't know, Hannah is doing a series of birthday flowers. So each month she's releasing, whatever the month is, she's releasing the flower that corresponds to that month. And I know we're kind of at the end of February, but flowers are flowers. You can use them anytime. And then, of course, you'll have them all next year to use again. That's the beauty of stamps, is they're tools. They're not consumables. And you can use them over and over, right? So that is some stuff that we have coming. Now, one of the things that, like I said, I'm so jazzed about in this next release is we have a new kit. And this kit, I know you're going to love this kit. It's got some beautiful florals in it. And it has, pardon me, it has some word and shadow dies that we decided to do instead of a stencil this time. You guys, we love stencils. We have tons of stencils in our collection, and we usually do a stencil every kit. But the way you guys reacted to the love die, the word and shadow die that we did in that little stencil bundle, we just thought, oh, I think we need to do more of those. So we have two word and shadow dies in the new kit as a little extra perk. Okay, so there, I've got my, you can see how I did that there. I've got all my color laid down, and now I'm going to blend this out. So this is a blending stump, and I like to use these really small ones. These are by Creative Mark. I really like this brand. These are actually made in Taiwan. They're a little different than the ones made in China. They're not as pressed. They're not as hard. And what I like about that is it allows the Gamsol to absorb into them a little bit more easily. So if you've had trouble in the past and you can't get your blending stumps to absorb, yours might be made in China. These are made in Taiwan. Now I have this little sandpaper thing. This is a Prismacolor thing, I think. Oh no, it's a Stadler thing. Stadler. You can read that, right? It's that brand right there. So this is, and you don't have to use this. You can use the Tim Holtz sanding block. You can even use a nail file for this. But I like to clean my blending stump when it's dry by rolling it, and I'm actually turning it in my hand like that while I file. And that helps me keep a nice sharp point, and it gets rid of any of the color that was on the end so it doesn't transfer from design to design. And then I have just a little, this was a tea light holder that I bought, and I have some Gamsol. Gamsol is an artist grade odorless mineral spirits. So you want to use an artist grade. You don't want to use hardware store odorless mineral spirits. It's not the same thing. And you know, I'm not a scientist. I don't know any of this kind of stuff, but one thing that I did learn is it's kind of like wine, you know, really good quality wine that doesn't have sulfites and things like that. It's just more expensive, and it's a better quality product, and you don't get a headache and things like that. Well, Gamsol is a more refined odorless mineral spirits. So it's supposed to be safer to use than the hardware store kind. Hardware store odorless mineral spirits would be the equivalent of like a box of wine. And I'm not going to say I haven't drank a box of wine in my life, but you pay for it the next day. So, all right, I'm going to stick my blending stump in there, and you see how I'm getting Gamsol like to absorb into that? Okay. So now I'm going to go right over the color. This is where people make mistakes. They try to go here next to it, but they're not melting anything. They're not, you know, breaking down the wax. So I'm going right on the color and then dragging the color out. And I'm doing a circular motion. As you can see, it just blends out to almost nothing. This is going to look a lot better in my photographs that I will post both on Facebook and here on my community tab on my Facebook channel. I mean, my YouTube channel, Facebook channel. Oh my gosh. Did I drink a box of wine before the show? Okay, so I don't have to dip every time. When I dip is when I start to feel it gets squeaky. If it starts to get squeaky, then I know I need to re-wet the blending stump. So you can see just that little circular motion, and just bring it down to almost white. Don't worry about filling in the whole thing. That's what makes it look really pretty, is the white space. Don't be afraid of white space. All right. I'm just going for it here. We have to do the leaves too, but they won't take as long because they're tiny. Plus, I won't have to talk quite as much about that. So I don't want to give you any more hints about our new release, because I know some people have asked, is there another Master Layouts die set coming? There's not one coming this month, but we do have more scheduled. So we have more designs coming, but not this month. this month that the kit is like, I don't know, there's something about like the spring kit. It always seems so big to me. I always feel like I put like more dies and more things in it. So I think you guys will really, really like it. And then of course, our illustrator sets have dies to coordinate. Some of them, most of them. So that's fun too. Oh, and then we have that little fancy glue holder coming that I showed you in one of my other lives. If you didn't see it, you can check my last 2 lives. I think I sneak peeked that. And I think we're going to have, we might have the insert to our brush holder. I think we have it. I don't even know anymore. We have so many palettes of stuff everywhere that we're going through right now to make sure we have everything we need. So you can see how this is coming along. You can always go back and add a second color. I'm really just going to scribble over this whole thing in the center. But you could actually take your time and do each petal individually if you wanted. I don't have time for that. But I do want to leave some white space. Okay.
Ink sets coming back online?
The ink cube sets are coming back. We're still missing 2 or 3 ink pad colors that haven't shipped yet. So the full set of ink pads will not be coming back, but the ink cube sets will be. Because I know we have all the colors. They're just building them now. Okay, so you can see how I colored that. The brush holder alone will be stocked. We are waiting for inventory for that as well. All right, so now we want to try to match this green. Let's see. I'm just going to try this color here. Wow, that was dumb luck. And this is the pencil sharpener that I use. I use the iPoint Orbit pencil sharpener. It comes in both a battery-operated one like this one and a little bit bigger. There's one that has electricity. I have them both, and I love them both. Karen Hightower gave me my electric one as a gift, and I loved it. The reason why I bought this one is so that I could take it camping with me, and I could sit outside and sharpen my pencils while I camp. All right, so I'm just going to do a little bit of similar coloring here, just down near the bottom of the leaves, and I'll work that color out to white. I like a sharp pencil. It's so much easier to use a sharp pencil. I'm sure you guys know that. But it's good to have. And I know if you have like a little handheld sharpener, that's great. You should use it. But I found that when I use this particular pencil sharpener, my point doesn't break. Tom, does release equal kit? Yes, I will answer for Tom. The release does equal a kit. And the next release is, what's the date, Tom? The 25th, I think, right? Yes, February 25th, next Thursday. So just a heads up for those of you that normally watch my live at this time, I won't be live during the day on Thursday because we have our kit, our new release that night. So I will be having all our illustrators join us, and I will not be live during the day. We'll be getting ready for the release party. So I'm sorry about that because I know a lot of you really like this time slot, and it's a lot of fun to be here with you in the day. All right. So Tom, do you see any other questions that I'm not seeing because I'm trying not to go outside of the lines?
Working on it.
Okay. All righty. I was going to have Tom do this video with me, and then I got hooked on this rubber band thing, and then I thought, oh, I got to do a lot of steps here because I got to do the flowers too. So I'm going to try to get him on one of the next ones. Okay, now I'm going to use the opposite side of this blending stump. Well, Deb, the subscription idea for releases, that is a good idea. Or for kits, we actually will be, hopefully 2021, we got stifled in 2020. I had some big plans to do this in 2020 and then COVID. So our plan this year is to start a subscription thing. And it won't be our big kit that we do because that's a tough one to manage. Plus that one is, I mean, that kit, everybody wants that kit. we're just ordering more and more and more every time we order because of the value. That kit is always such a great value. Not that our subscriptions won't be a great value too, but we wanted to do something a little bit smaller, a kit, but not quite as big. This way it wouldn't be so cost prohibitive for people who would love to have that fun little surprise in their mailbox every month, but maybe can't commit to something that's $59.95. So that is what our plan is. So we do have that coming. It's been crazy with COVID, just trying to get products. I know you guys are frustrated that things are out of stock. You can only imagine how frustrated we are because we can't get what we need. So things are starting to move a little faster now, which is a good thing.
What kind of pencils and what color?
So the kind of pencils that I'm using here are Prismacolor pencils, and the blue is called Aquamarine, and the green is called Kelly Green. I'll put those in the description box on YouTube as well. So you can always find what I used on YouTube because I always fill in as much information as I can over there. All right, so let's cut these out, and we'll cut the rest of the pieces out, and we will assemble this card. Let me back out here. Okay. So if you haven't received, if you're in Australia and you haven't received something that you ordered in January yet, that is not unusual at all. We have seen that it is taking months to get to destinations overseas. Months. It's crazy how long it's taking to get overseas. So I apologize for that. It's kind of out of our hands. But I can assure you, if you got a shipping notice, that it is on its way. Okay. So yeah, we've had people, tell us that they don't want the order anymore, and then, a month later it shows up, and we can't stop it once it's out the door. Okay, so there's my flower. And now I'm going to, I'm stepping on rubber bands. They're all over the place. And now I'm just going to do these leaves. And you can see I'm not doing my, precision die cutting techniques, so they might not be perfect, but they're going on white, so I'm not going to worry about it as much. I've been trying to get both CZ and Simon Hurley to do a video with me, do a live with me. Don't you think that would be fun? Hey, Simon. Hey, Kathy Z. Good to see you guys. Nice to have you here. I haven't looked up too much. I just, every once in a while, glance up and I see a question and I answer it. So I don't know everybody that's here, but I am so glad you all are. Okay, so that one was cut out pretty well. And I have one more to cut. So let's do that last one. Okay. Yes. Bumbleberry is an awesome retailer for us. They carry so much of our stuff, which is really nice because we do have some retailers around the country that maybe only carry a handful of our things. So it's not always easy to recommend everybody because people are looking for kind of everything. But Bumbleberry is one of those in the UK that carries just about everything we sell. Okay, except our kits because we don't wholesale our kits. Our kits are only available at Gina K Designs. All right, so let's do a little oval thing, shall we? I'll grab one more piece of white cardstock here, and I have these ovals. These are the Gina K Designs double-stitched and single-stitched ovals. So I'm going to use a big one. I know I'm going to cover some of the background here. Maybe I don't have to cover that much. Should I try a smaller one? I might even have smaller ones already cut out. Let's see. I don't. Do I? Yeah, I do. Okay. So here's a smaller one. So if I were to put that on there, maybe we could do the greeting because I want to use one of these big greetings. I'd like to use this friend greeting. I think that will work. Okay, done. Already cut it out. How's that? So now I just need a piece of black cardstock to cut out my Final Master Layouts 2. That's the background, the back layer that's going to go on my plaid design. Now I have to ask you guys which plaid should I use? I think I should use the busier ones yes, there will be slimline dies in our future. We decided not to do them just yet because we want to do something that's a little more unique. I mean, everybody has slimline dies, and it's kind of redundant. And so, you know, I'm racking my brain trying to figure out exactly what we can do to make ours a little bit different. Of course, putting them in a master layout set would be great because that's always different, right? And everybody. All right, so I have a white card base here. And let's see. So which one of these do you guys think I should use? Kind of want to use this one. Do you guys agree that I should use the busier one so that we see more of that color behind there? Oh, you like the diagonal plaid better? Busier one. Let's see. Because this is going to go on black. Of course, I'm back to black. Putting black on here. See, let me put this on here. See that you're going to see more of that as opposed to this one. Okay. Well, that looks nice too, though. A lighter one. Corin Wisman's here. Hey, Corin. Oh gosh. All right. I see a lot of diagonals. I see a lot of busy ones too. All right, how about if I use the diagonal one for here and then I make a separate card using the busier one and I'll share that later. Would that work for you guys? Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so I'm going to adhere these two panels together. Let me find some tape. Here we go. Yeah. So this plaid technique, if you're just joining us, or you joined us late, this was done by just putting rubber bands on an acrylic block, different size rubber bands, flat rubber bands, and stamping the rubber bands in a plaid kind of way. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm delirious. And I haven't even started the colonoscopy prep yet. Okay, here we go. And then we'll put this right on the card. We're going to do, I never do this orientation. And I should, this kind of, instead of doing this style, I'm going to do this style. Okay, I'm going to put these two together, and then we're going to stamp that friend right on here, I think. Yeah, I think so. But to make sure that I don't totally screw it up, I'm going to use my Misty. Tom, do you see my Misty anywhere? I don't see it anywhere. Underneath? Oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Tom, saving me. So I'm going to use my Misty for this. I'm just going to put a little bit of tape on the back here and just adhere it to my Misty. This way, if I don't stamp it well the first time, I get a second shot. So if I put the friend up here, and I could say, hello, my friend. I think I'll do that. Hello, my friend. So we'll do the friend at the top. There's a little blue mark on my friend, and I think it's from clothes that I was wearing. Oh, I know what it's from. It's from that washcloth I used for that Copic technique. All right, so we'll put friend right there. Because what I want to do is I want to put the flower down here and kind of have the leaves, you know, coming out of the flower like that. So I'm just checking my layout. What do you guys think? Like that kind of layout? That'll look pretty, right? Okay. All right, so we'll do friend first. Hope I have enough space on my card. I think I will. So I'll just use the Gina K Designs black ink. Yes, Polly, we do camp. We camp in an RV. We have a tiny, tiny little RV. So we used to have a trailer when our kids were younger. Boy, I hope that doesn't mess up. Oh, it didn't. We used to have a trailer when our kids were younger. And, you know, it was bigger, so it had like a little bedroom in the back and then a bedroom in the front. So everybody had a place to sleep. But now that it's just Tom and I, we have a tiny little RV that you can actually park right on the street, which is really fun because we went up to Door County. How about hello, sweet? We went up to Door County, Wisconsin, and we wanted to go shopping downtown. and we just drove the RV and just parked right on the street. So it's kind of fun to have that option. It's not super difficult to drive. So I'm adding the Hello Sweet to Friend, and I'm going to use an ink cube to ink this up because that ink pad is big and it's not. Here we go. That was embossing and watermark ink. Here we go. There we go. So it's kind of nice to have it, and it's just the two of us, and we do spend a lot of time outdoors when we're camping. We like to sit by our fire. We like to ride our bikes. We like to bop around whatever town we're in. So we don't really spend very much time inside. I even color and stamp sitting outside. So it's really fun unless it's really rainy, and then it's a little confining, but still fun. All right, so I'm going to now adhere this to my card. And I'm going to like push it up toward the top because I need room for my flower. Ooh, that's really big flower. I wonder if I could go outside. Would that look weird if I went outside? I don't think it would. I think it would look good as long as this goes outside. Let's do that. It's very different for me, but we're going to do it. Okay, so we'll adhere this down first. We'll just go a little bit outside the top. Try to get even on both sides. Camping is fun. I never thought that I would like camping. I never camped as a child. So I'm going to put my flower on last, but I am going to position these leaves now. So we'll do a leaf there.
24-foot RV.
Oh, we have a 24-foot RV.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we have. It's not huge. 24. So it's like a kind of like a big motorhome. Yeah, not a big motorhome, a little motorhome. All right, so I think that's the layout I'm going to do. I probably could have used one more leaf, but maybe if I put this on the side, it'll be more like 3 points there, a triangle. Okay, so I'm going to put the leaves down first. Let's do that. Leaf here. Up here, and then down here. And again, I'm draping this leaf off the edge. And then this will get popped up on top using foam squares. And I need foam squares.
You gamsoled the leaves as well, right?
I gamsoled the leaves as well. I sure did. Okay. So we'll put a couple foam squares on here. Now my foam squares are going to go down on the bottom. So I'm not going to put them up here because this is already higher up. So I'm going to put my foam squares down here. I'm only putting 2. And it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to stay on the card. But this way, it's not like a different height at the top than the bottom. Okay, there we go. So there's my finished card. Oh, that was fun. Yes, camping and glamping are definitely 2 different things. I have friends that tent camp and they play cards in their tent in thunderstorms and things. I am not a camper. I am more of a glamper. I agree. We have air conditioning. That's not really camping for diehards, right? All right, so there's my finished card, and I will take a picture of this one as well so that you guys can see this one. And I'll lay the other ones out in the picture as well so you can see. And then hopefully I'll get to make a card with this. But I agree, this would have been a beautiful background too. It's just hard to decide, but I think we made a good decision together. All right, so that was so much fun, guys. So, you know, it's been tough. I know it's really tough for a lot of you that are down south right now, and you're going through it. And it's tough for everybody right now with COVID and feeling shut in and not being able to get out. And it's just been long enough, you know, we're all ready to shake it up and change things. But, and so some of you might be having a particularly tough time right now. So I do have a quote about that, and hopefully this helps some of you out there. I know this quote always helps me. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's just a good one to be reminded of. So on particularly rough days when you're sure you can't possibly endure, remind yourself that your track record for getting through bad days so far is 100%. And that's pretty good. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll be back next Monday night with another fun live, maybe another fun technique. I sure hope you'll join me. In the meantime, stay safe, stay warm, try to stay dry. I love you all so much, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.